Hey guys, so today we're going to show you how we can distinguish if we have a good quality marker or not. So as you can see, we've gone out and we've got a whole load of brands of marker, including our own on the end here. And look at, you can see there's a big difference in the colors of the powder. And if we put those powders into water, you'll see that there's also a big difference in how they look once they're in solution in water. So these are some little tips of how you can tell if you have a good quality marker. The first thing that you want to be looking for, you see our one on the end here, is you've got this more of a homogeneous look, where you don't have this layer separation so easily. So you do get a bit of sedimentation on the bottom, but it's a lot more homogenized, which means that you're getting this distribution here. If we go down the line, they all have the same amount of maca in them. You can see that this amount of sedimentation is different for every single brand, and this is because this is where all the heavy starches are sitting. Another little thing to look for is the color. So what you want is this nice caramel brown. If we've got too much of a light color, we know that we've got a lot of starch in there, and you can see as well because you get a lot of sedimentation on the starch. And if you look at the top, you get foaming. So foaming is associated often with dilution of starch. The other thing we need to look at is the color. So when we get really dark maca like this in solution, this is a sign that potentially it could be a diluted powder. And one of the tricks that they use a lot in Peru is to add caramelized sugars to it. And you get this really dark solution as a result, because that's the caramel of the sugar. And they put the sugar in to sweeten it. So often when they're cutting or diluting powders down, which is very common practice, is that you lose the sweetness of the maca. And so what they do to offset this is they often caramelize some sugar to put in with it, so it tries to maintain the sweetness. So it's not a natural flavor of maca. The other difference as well is the way that it's dried. So it's really important when you dry your maca to dry it naturally under the sun. Without natural sun drying and following those traditions of 3 months of dehydration under the sun, we don't produce enough of our macamides. So the macamides are the bioactive ingredients in maca that give it its properties and benefits. So the molecules that work with our brain to regulate our endocrine function. And when we follow traditional drying, it changes our maca, it changes the properties of it, makes it more bioactive. And not sun drying it is one way in which you can create inferior quality powders. So if you're looking at the powder, what we want is a slightly lightish brown caramel color. Too light means that it most likely is a raw powder, and it could also be a diluted powder cut with starches. Too dark, or oven dried as well. Too dark is not a good sign either. So either it's been overcooked, or it's potentially been added to with caramelized sugars. So it should be a nice light brown color.
Or if you are not sure, just check the macamide content.
Yeah.
If they don't tell you the macamide content, probably they don't.
So on the back, if we go and we look at our nutritional facts, look at the macamide levels, you want about 0.6% or higher. So when we analyzed all these different brands for their macamides, only 2 of them, including ours, so one other than ours, came up to the therapeutic standard. What this means is that it's far more likely with a brand like ours that you're going to be getting enough macamides to be therapeutic and bioactive. So always check the macamide levels on your maca. You want 0.6% or higher. So ours, I think in this latest batch, was actually up to 0.7%. But we always say it's going to be greater than 0.65. So in a teaspoon, you're getting 65 mgs of total macamide, which is perfect for endocrine balance and function. So there you go. There are some little tricks and tips as to how you can distinguish between a good quality maca and one that maybe is not quite therapeutic enough. So next time you're out shopping, or if you've got a brand at home you want to check, you can do a little water test. You can do a taste test. It should be a malt caramelly flavor as well. If it's very earthy, this is not a good sign. And if you have any more questions, go to selenohealth.com. We are the maca experts. Ask us anything and we can answer it for you. All right, thanks guys. We'll see you soon.